Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Silicon Slopes Conversations this week, the first one of 2023. Time flies. All right. Our next big event for some housekeeping is the Silicon Slopes Hall of Fame and Awards. You can find more information on that on our website. It is going to be very fun. People will be dressed in nice dresses and suits, but they'll wear cool shoes. February 4th at the Grand America. All right, we are here with Baltic Born, and I will let the three ladies here introduce themselves, and then we'll get started.
Thanks so much, Garrett. My name is Allison Hunt, and I am the oldest of the sisters.
I'm Marianne, and I am the youngest.
And I am Angela Lillianquist, and I am the middle sister.
We're happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I will toss these out, and you guys can field them however you see fit. Very cool founding story. Let's just hear the founding story, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. We'll bring you right into the family. So in 2016, we were all kind of doing our own thing. I was a stay-at-home mom of two, and Ange, if you want to explain.
I was going to the University of Utah, and I had just accepted a job in Miami for a retail software company.
And then I was a full-time hairstylist, working in a salon and just kind of doing my own thing.
And this was kind of the cusp of Instagram becoming big and e-commerce. So really the organic
Social media, e-commerce marriage was happening.
And so we really wanted to just do something fun. It was going to kind of be a side gig. We wanted to do something together. We have a great relationship, and we wanted to see what we could do. So we took out a small business loan for $20,000 in our names, and we wanted to fund it all ourselves. And we used that money to start to do anything we could. I'm not a business major.
I'm a communications major, so marketing and social media is what I liked.
And then I loved all things creative, so doing the photo shoots, styling, that kind of stuff. We all have very different strengths, and that's why we were able to come together. So using that small business loan, we bought product, we bought a camera, we bought like a backdrop that we hung in Allison's garage, and then we would also just use our iPhones to take pictures of the product. We also started a website on Shopify, which was a great platform for us. And yeah, just kind of went from there to see where we could go.
Set up shop in my spare bedroom. And
Marianne was modeling. I learned how to take pictures, and we literally self-taught everything. Everything you can imagine. We were Googling at night, we were watching YouTube videos, we were figuring out ways to do this ourselves to save money and to just do it the way we wanted it done.
so as it progressed, we started finding our customer. And I don't know if any of you have a Shopify store. There's this little cha-ching that rings every time you get an order, like on Venmo. And that was just like music to our ears. I never wanted to turn that off. I loved it.
It would happen 10 times a day. And
Well,
we're like, 10 orders today.
At the beginning, it was like once every 5 days.
Once.
And we were so excited that people were spending their money on our product, and we just were so proud of that and took that to heart so seriously that we wanted to deliver a good service. So we kind of started off as just a boutique, right? And then we quickly found a niche of a customer. And Ange, do you want to talk about that?
And we would all help buy. We were all buyers, but I was kind of looking at the analytics more of what was selling and what our customers wanting. And I was also running an Instagram at that time, so I was seeing messages come in like, oh my gosh, when are you going to restock this dress? And oh my goodness, this maxi. And obviously there was a trend of what our customer wanted. You know, I kept getting these messages, and I was looking at sales of what colors, what styles, what was working. And we quickly took on the motto of find what is working and do more of that. Okay, maybe I didn't love the dress. I'm like, wait, that thing's selling? Like, okay, like it's cute, but like I would never like go out and search for that. I think what has contributed to our success is really like taking that aspect of the analytics and the data and focus, like zeroing in on that.
So we continued to grow, and we outgrew the bedroom in my house. So then we called up Mom and Dad and said, hey, you guys are almost empty nesters. Can we move in? And so we overtook their spare bedroom. So what year was that? That was
2018.
2018. So in 2018, they had a sub-basement in their house, and we said, hey, if we pay to finish it, can we have that be like our warehouse? And they were like, oh yeah, but first our mom had to get rid of like 10,000 Christmas decorations. So that was fun. And we thought we would be there for years. We thought that we would be there for years.
That was going to be our
That was
workspace.
it.
That was it. Yeah.
We had made it.
We sent her husband to go get Costco shelves, building those shelves, and we got these little boxes and we made our own warehouse. We
In the
created
basement.
a warehouse in the basement.
So this is two flights of stairs
Down.
So
So that
as-
means orders had to come 2 flights of stairs up.
So kind of going along, I know this is a long-winded
No, it's
answer,
perfect.
Garrett, but
Yeah.
as we continued to grow, there were so many things that we had to pivot with. And so one of them was fulfillment. I think that was the biggest thing, because these orders were coming in and we learned how to fulfill. So that was shipping software, that was email automations for that.
Order confirmations.
Order confirmations, printing the labels, finding a label printer that works with Shopify, all of these things that we didn't have a friend that was kind of giving us information on this. We had to Google it and try it, and dang it, I just spent $1,200 on a printer that was the wrong one, and I can't get a refund. So there were so many mistakes in that sense, or trials that we had to go through of learning, well, shoot, we lost money there, but we learned this. And so that happened in every aspect. Customer service, same thing. What platform are we going to use? Now we can't just, I don't want to give out my personal email anymore. Like, we need to get a platform, a software that is going to automate this system. And so in 2018, we were to that point of growth in the basement still, where we thought we had just made it and this is great. So then we decided to start advertising. Up to
And-
that point, it was all organic, social
Yep,
media.
all organic. We had not spent a dime on social media advertising.
And we'd also go to every possible pop-up shop we could
Oh,
go
yes.
to in Utah. We went to Pinner's Conference,
Crazy Daisy.
yes, the Pumpkin Palooza, like every sort of pop-up we could find. We were there with our full catalog, just yeah, dance competitions, cheer competitions. We were at every show, like every place we could sell our product.
And with that, we had babies. So that year, Angela and I had both had a baby, and they would come to the pop-up shops with us. So at Pinner's Conference, I remember, that was the last moment we were paying off this
Loan.
small business loan. And we had 2 5-month-old babies there with us, and we would each rotate, walking the babies around
Double
Southtown
stroller.
Expo, while the other 2 were the sales associates basically at the booth. And we finally earned enough money right then and there to pay off our loan, and we were self-funded from that day forward, which was so empowering to us. But then going into advertising,
Do you want to? That's kind
No,
of the story.
keep going.
Do you want us to just keep going?
Yep.
we can talk for days.
No, that's perfect. Keep going. We're telling the story.
So in 2018, I had a 6-month-old, and I was a single mom, and I lost my corporate job. So I was living at my parents / the warehouse. I still feel like I live at the warehouse, but. And I called these 2 girls up, and I said, okay, like, can we do this for real? Like, can we like really, really try and like do this? And they were like, yep, let's do it. And I said, okay, the next step is paid advertising. Like, we're there. And so I started researching advertisers and, e-commerce store advertisers, and I found a few, and I found one we called, interviewed, and we decided, oh yeah, okay, we feel like this is a good fit. And it wasn't a good fit.
$10,000 later, dang it.
It wasn't a good fit. It didn't do anything. We literally wasted $10,000, and that was really the first hit that it was like, okay, that was like a lot of money for us, and that didn't work out. And we remember how we felt.
yeah.
We felt like,
Same.
oh, like that sucks. That was bad. But we didn't stop, and we found a new advertising company.
Failure wasn't really an option for us.
Yeah, we never looked at it as like a problem or a failure. We just looked at it like, okay, what can we do? Like, how can we turn and shift and succeed in what we're trying to do,
How can we pivot to make it work this time? And so we found a new advertising agency through word of mouth, and this was the beginning of huge success.
Baltic Born.
Yeah, I mean, this was the beginning. We learned a lot from them. We learned, you got to buy deeper inventory, which was also very scary for us. It's more of an investment. It's more money. We thought it was like fast fashion, turning. And we decided that we needed to, shift a little that way, and it paid off.
And so from that point, we started making our own designs. So now that we had paid advertising going, we said, okay, we know what our customer wants. We know what's selling. We don't want to buy, what everyone else is selling. We want to have something that's unique to Baltic Born. So that at that time, in 2019, we decided, okay, we're going to design. We know we are our customer. We're postpartum. We hate wearing these clothes because they don't make us feel good. So we want to create something that is going to make our female feel empowered, to make her feel amazing when she is struggling with body positivity maybe, or kind of in this in-between stage that we all go through as women. And we started doing samples with manufacturers and found one that was just the perfect fit. And we are still with that manufacturer today. And I remember the first couple of samples, they were in Europe. And this was like a crazy rainstorm and the basement flooded. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
The warehouse flooded.
The warehouse flooded. And so we had to go put everything up off the floor. And I get this first sample box and I put on the first dress and I look like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this gonna work? And I send them a Snapchat and I'm like, is this for real? But luckily there were 3 others in there that were great, and we still sell one of them today. And that was a learning process. I am not a seamstress. I am not I wouldn't say any of us are really seamstresses, but we know what we like and we know what looks good on a woman's body, and we know what she wants because we are her. And so really at that point in design, we found our customer and she found us in the designs that we were offering. And so the design really just took off from there.
Very cool. So looking like Belle was not a good thing in this?
I would say no.
Okay,
It's not on brand.
gotcha. So with the first dresses, those were not your designs, right?
Right, it was a curated collection.
All right, so then you made that jump to designing. So is that doodling on an iPad and then sending it over? Explain just really in layman's terms. Here's my design, please sew it in mass
Make
production.
this. So, like Allison said, we really just pinpointed the characteristics of a design that our customer wants. So, anytime I see a print or travel is huge inspiration for me. I love to travel. We went to Turkey in August, and colors, culture, everything. It really revs up creativity, and it's these color combinations, like some of the most unique color combinations our customer loves. And really pinpointing, what is it, the waistband, where does that sit? The V-neck, where does that sit? Keeping the customer sophisticated and sexy, but still covered, and she's a mom. So she wants to be, she wants to feel like she can move around and pick up her kids if she wants. So I'll usually send pictures of color combinations that I love, or if I see fabrics, I'll send photos to our manufacturers. And then as far as the design, Allison's really good at saying okay, we need 1/4 inch off here, open this up, 1/2 inch here.
So it's funny because we want these to be a universal fit, which is kind of why I think we have had a lot of success, because we keep that in mind. Not everyone has the same shoulder width, etc. So I would make Marianne come in and Angela, and I said, if it fits both of them, because we all have different bodies, but we were the same size, so if it's a good fit on all 3 of us, it's a winner. And so that's kind of how we would say. She'd pick out the designs, and then I would critique them a little bit. And if it looked good on Marianne, then I'm like, we're solid. People are going to love it. And then we would order it and produce it and photograph it on Marianne and get it on the site. And people were signing up for the restock notification day 1.
Very cool. All right, so then you also had to learn how much to order, right?
That was terrifying.
Especially during COVID.
Yeah.
What's the quick layman's science of that?
Intuition. No. Now that we are established, it's data, obviously. But in the beginning, we just didn't know. We didn't know, and it was trial and error. And we would buy too many of this one, and we'd buy not enough of this one. And we just, again, being very aware of the analytics. And okay, our medium, larges, and XLs are selling out the most. Let's cut back on extra small and small, and bring that, those MOQs, minimums, to these sizes, and just. It's constantly changing, and you just have to be in the numbers and in the data all the time.
All right. So I think you mentioned that one of your originals is still being sold.
Yes.
How do you guys ramp up pieces? That's what we agreed to call these
Yeah.
articles of clothing. Is it like 5 at a time, 1 at a time, 10 at a time? And then you send it to the manufacturer, or do you do it like 100 at a time?
Yeah, so we don't want to it's very costly to buy a lot of C-level inventory and not have it sell. So we have been very cautious the whole time because this is the majority of the money, the inventory. And so what we'll do is we'll test. We always test the products. So we'll test maybe one style in 2 colors because maybe that color, it was the color, that's why they didn't buy it. So let's always get 2 color options in there. And then let's get feedback from our customer. Let's look at reviews. Let's look at return percentages, return rates and sell-through rates. And so everything is data-driven for us, especially at the volume we're at now. At the beginning, it was just like, oh, what did we like? What was selling?
It was, what do we like and what do we think our customer will like?
And we would order like 20 pieces, like that's it.
Okay. And so going back a little bit in time, you've got the SBA loan, the warehouse basement, flooding, Pinterest, you're hustling, classic entrepreneurs. How did you guys figure out roles and responsibilities? You hit on it a little bit, but there's fun parts of this business, and then there's not fun parts of the business. How did you guys, as 3 sisters, divide the duties?
Well, I would say that customer service has bounced around a couple times, and it has landed on my lap. So
We're playing volleyball with that one. Just kidding.
But I think go ahead.
We have, all 3 of us have very different strengths, which is a blessing. And
yeah, it keeps things balanced,
it does.
which is helpful.
Like naturally, the creative goes to Marianne because she is like very good with vision, and she's a hairstylist. She's a creative by nature, I would say. And Allison is really, really good with people, so she gets HR and customer service. It's just like
Pray for me.
she's really, really good with people and delivering kindly.
But I think a lot of it is, at the beginning, we all did a lot of it.
Yes.
So, again, we had babies. Angela's a single mom, so it was all on her. So I would say, okay, I'm going to the park with the double stroller. You guys are on fulfillment, and you got to answer these customers.
You're on
service
everything.
emails.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good
then
luck.
Marianne would be like, I need a break. So we'd be like, great, take our kids. And she would take the kids in the front pack on the walk again. And literally all summer long, I remember this, we would just do everything. As we expanded and moved into our first warehouse, we could not all be together anymore. It was a bigger space. And so we sat down at a whiteboard and we said, okay, what are the departments? Like, what makes up this company? Because it wasn't really solidified at that point. We were just doing all the work. And so I said, okay, I think we had like 3 departments, like fulfillment,
Our first org
returns,
chart.
and customer service.
Receiving, fulfillment, customer service,
Yeah.
marketing.
And so we just said, we're going to divide it up evenly. Mary, you get fulfillment because she's like always been known as like the techie one. And so she took that over to kind of figure that out. And then Angela and I took over, Ange took over inventory, which is funds and creates the business. And then I got customer service and HR and finance.
Very cool. So if there were ever any disagreements on the division of those roles, at what point did you bring your 4th employee on? To kind of, oh, there's that, we can, safety valve.
I don't know that we've really given anyone any of the top level things. We still run it all, but we did, in the basement, we had 3 fulfillment employees
And
that would come
customer
and help
service.
do those things.
All right. These are my favorite entrepreneurial stories where you're selling, or you're building the ship as you sell it. Very cool. Okay, so the timeline's pretty short, right? Like 2016 to now, a lot's gone on. As you've grown and scaled, the business parts of it, like what is the margins on this piece? What is the ROI on this? At what point did you start to get a little bit more sophisticated on the monetization of it?
Yeah, I think that really what happened was, so let's go jump back to the timeline a little bit. In 2019, we were out growing the basement, and we were so sick of loading Marianne's car 5 times a day to drive down to the post office, up 2 flights of stairs. So we said, let's take a lease out on a proper warehouse with a loading dock. The UPS driver was like, you guys run a daycare, right? And I'm like, no, these are dresses. And so we said, we're ready to level up, ready to take the next step. And so we moved into a, 4,000 square feet warehouse?
I think like 20,
Oh, no, the first one.
2,500.
That's
yeah,
right, the
or like
first one was
1,200.
smaller.
It was small.
It was small, and there was no natural light, and it was a little depressing. But at that point, we said, okay, let's start to order more inventory. This is right before COVID. And so Angela listened to her intuition, that's all we can say it, and ordered so many dresses. And we couldn't walk in the warehouse. I'm like, this is a fire hazard. So with those, monetizing that, I'm like, are we gonna sell these? Like, did we just, I was scared. I didn't say anything to her at the time, but I was terrified.
You were scared?
I think we were all scared. We just didn't say anything.
And so we're thinking, oh shoot, like is this gonna be the C-level project? Are we gonna move through these? Well, then China's closed for 6 months because of COVID, and everyone ran out of inventory, and guess who had inventory? We did.
Baltic Born.
And so at that point, that was just, lucky that Angela had done that. And so that kind of gave us this jump. And so at that point, we said, okay, we can mark our prices up a little bit because they're selling out too quickly. We can't even advertise them, that we do need to mark them up a little bit. And so I would say at that point, when the supply chain really got that kink in it and we were in a good position, we sold out eventually. Unfortunately, in 2020, we did feel the pains of that. But that is when we really said, okay, let's look at these margins. Let's look at how we can order more. We had a bigger customer base now, and we could really start to monetize, the 20 pieces that we had ordered originally. We're now submitting POs for 400 pieces and in an extended size range.
All right. I love it, minus like the COVID part there.
Yeah,
but
me too.
When we booked you guys to come, I told a few females in my life, yeah, Baltic Born. Oh, I love Baltic Born. It's like, oh, they're so lucky they have these free evangelists, right? Because rarely does that happen, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I love that accounting software. Right? But with you guys, I assume that's a very important, critical part of your business, or kind of the fanatics. So how do you guys work with them? How do you keep them happy? And what's the overall process?
So I want to speak first to influencer marketing. We do not use any influencer marketing whatsoever. We never have. We have one account on LT Like to Know It, and people can sign up as they wish and post it on their stories. But we do not do influencer marketing, and that's probably an opportunity for us. But I think something so incredible about our business has been the word of mouth. Photographers love our business. Bridal parties love our business. Occasion, family photos. So this word of mouth spreading, you're with a photographer, you're at a wedding, you see these bridesmaid dresses, wow, those are beautiful, where did you get those, And you're now hitting, it's like wildfire because it's going to so many places. You've got 12 girls in these dresses that are telling all of their friends and posting pictures. So it's just like travels exponentially.
Also with that, I would say the fit. We care so much. Like, we will go through 8 samples to make sure that it's not pulling. If I go to pick up my kid, I'm not going to bust out the back seam. Like, we actually practice that in our samples.
That's part of the design process.
So that we know that when she buys something, she's comfortable in it, but she still feels, cute and sophisticated. And I would say that shows in the customers. When they put it on, we get messages all the time, and it brings us to tears, honestly, because it will be a woman saying, I have hated my body for 5 years, and I took a chance, and I ordered this dress, and I put it on, and I have never felt better, and I'm ordering it in every color. And so I think it's the design plus just the word of mouth and the advertising, but our customer is the most important thing to us because we've been there. We have felt the pains of, this voice in your head or frustration with your body or not finding something that fits you correctly. And so I think that our customer continues to return because of the way she feels in our designs.
Yeah, and with fanatics like that, even if they're fanatical and the dresses cost $3,000, that ends, right?
Yes. So the affordability is huge, and that also is a key for us because we were broke. I still get hand-me-downs from them, and it's like we know what that feels like to have. Okay, I have a new baby, and I have a toddler, and my husband may have just gotten let go, or whatever your story looks like for her, but we want her to be able to afford to look beautiful, and so we keep that in mind. Going back to margins, I'm not going to design a dress that's too costly for her because she doesn't want to see it on the site. This is her price point, and that's important to us.
Yeah, I'm understanding now why the Princess Belle was not a good dress.
That is true. And a couple other reasons. Too many raffles.
Yeah. How many pieces do you guys have now?
Wait, total pieces are like SKUs?
I think in our catalog we have around 1,500 styles.
Yeah.
Wow. So as you guys are kind of setting your goals, whether it's yearly or quarterly, how do you guys decide the number of new pieces or products?
I think this is a good time to bring out the term organized chaos. She got married last year, and that's one of the terms her husband used to describe because of the growth. There is no, if we like it, and if we know our customer like it, we produce it. So maybe we don't produce, maybe we produce 10 styles because nothing turned out. Maybe we produce 1,000 styles this year because we love all of them.
So how quickly does that move from design concept to it's being bought and worn by someone?
During COVID, it was about 6 to 8 months, and right now it's about 3 to 4.
So pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And then you'll see the returns come in. Yep. How do you decide, oh, that was a miss? Is it by committee? Is it just by data?
Data.
Data.
I keep a very close watch on our return rates. Allison and I both return rates when I'm reordering inventory. I always go to the return rates before I submit another PO.
Okay. And the people that you sell to, inevitably there will be a creep of like, oh, we should sell to a different group of people. Like new ideas will come in,
Sure.
right? Oh, we have the supply chain figured out. We've got this figured out. Who moderates and calibrates the ideas and expansion and keeps it on the rails?
I mean, I think it's a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
We hate ordering alone. Like 3 brains are always better than 1. And so if Marianne has it on, she can say, okay, this is not comfortable. This doesn't fit, and then I can say, okay, well, if we let this out, and then Angela's like, nope, that fabric's not gonna work. Let's try it in this. So we love to design together. That's what we're good at, and that's why we've been successful. We tried lip gloss. We've tried a couple of other things that we liked, and then activewear, but the bread and butter, you just can't get away from that. And we know data also shows that that's what our customer wants.
I will say, depending on the season, we tried different things. For example, last spring we tried jumpsuits. I went a little bit heavier into jumpsuit buying, and it did extremely well. So we are custom cutting our jumpsuits this year, producing and with our tags and everything, and we're excited because they're already selling and it's January.
Swim, who's going on
Swim is
vacation? Those swimsuits are flying out of here.
Yeah,
Is a jumpsuit like overalls?
In a
Kinda.
sense.
kinda.
Could be.
Okay. Is it like a onesie?
Yes, it's a onesie.
Oh,
It's really fun to go to the bathroom in that. You're fully.
so that begs the obvious point. If I wanted a onesie,
You could get one here. Yes,
Okay.
we'll send one over. Blue floral.
and it's fashionable.
It is. You'll look fantastic.
I like it. All right. Okay, so as you grow and scale, you've got the normal problems any company would, right? But you've mixed in COVID and warehouses and kids. As you started to build out your team, who did you look for to kind of fill those gaps, take some pressure off, and then obviously add value? Essentially, what do you look for as you hire out your team?
Yeah, I mean, we are looking for people to match our energy. I think that anytime people are with us for more than 20 minutes, they just see that we are different. In a good way. And it can be a crazy way, too. And sometimes that's too much for people, and that's okay. But I would say that urgency and our work ethic have really gotten us to where we are today. So when we are looking for people to fill these, top level positions and take weight off of us as we're at our volume and need to grow, we're just looking for that. Like, can you match our energy?
And also just hard workers. Like, we will do everything. We will take boxes off the UPS truck still. We're still picking orders, packing orders. Like, we are helping and doing everything in the business still. And so we want to build a team that was willing to do that as well. Like, nothing is beneath us. And so we create a culture in our company that we show up, we pitch in, and we do the work that needs to be done.
Yeah. As first-time kind of founders and entrepreneurs, oftentimes, there will be the sharks that start to swim when they see you're having success, and you might get advice, which is unsolicited. It might be good advice. There might be people that want to mentor. There might be angles. How did you deal with that?
I will never forget a call with one of our first agencies, and he said, I think that you should just coast it, 400,000 in sales. Was it a year? I think. Low.
Yeah.
And I go, coast? We do not coast here. And so again, finding people, like when people give that unsolicited advice, I'm like, okay, I think we're ready to make a change here. And so we've had to we all are on the same page, luckily, as owners and partners, that there's no ceiling, there's no walls.
And if there is, we're going to shatter it.
And we decide how far we're going to go. And so I think when we hear people say that, it actually lights our fire a little bit more to push harder and to achieve more, because that's kind of like our serotonin rush is, growing, like competing with ourselves to grow and to continue to improve.
Well, we've also had comments from people saying like, so who actually like runs the business though?
Oh.
And it's like, we do, like I think seeing 3 young women, and that can kind of throw people off sometimes, or at least there was a stigma. And so it's really cool to see that we're breaking that. And it does, like Allison said, really motivate us and keep us going.
Yeah. So sometimes they're like backhanded compliments that serve.
Yeah.
We heard another one that said, oh, so did Daddy fund this? I said, there's the door. There's the door.
Yeah. But as you guys are curious about fashion and building your brand, building your product, there are going to be continual hurdles, right? Eventually you guys could IPO, theoretically, right? And that is a complete new skill set, as with any business. Who do you guys reach out to for advice and mentorship in a helping capacity, not like a consulting?
I think this has been, as one of my struggles, I don't have anyone.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and dad for therapy sessions, I don't know. Each other, to just kind of talk through things. We really have not had.
Yeah, we haven't had like one single like mentor, we haven't had a study. We've talked to people throughout, like in different industries, even in our industry, and it is helpful and it's beneficial to have conversations with them. But I wouldn't say that we have specific mentors that help us through, or,
It feels like we're forging our own way.
Yeah.
It's really on the group text, the sister text thread that is ongoing 24/7. And we say, what do you guys think about that? Okay, well, like, are we in? Are we out? How do we feel? Let's look at the data. And people approach us now. I have friends who have started businesses. They have as well. And I love helping, because I wish we had a helper, or a voice that had walked this before, but we don't.
So it's really the school of hard knocks, right?
It is.
Because if it was me, and just as an example, a lot of things were getting returned, I'd be like, you guys went Google and you went just you 3, circle the wagons. I would have asked somebody like, what am I supposed to do here, right? But you guys seem like it's just you 3.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. All right, so as siblings, we've had a few guests over the years of, husband, wife, or sibling co-founders. I'm always interested in, there's got to be a time or two where you didn't agree, right? What happens there?
Black Friday 2019 or 2018, I can't remember. No, it happens. It absolutely happens. And with this amount of growth, how could it not? It is so stressful. And I remember this was in the basement days, but this Black Friday we're all like, I'm done. I quit. We're done. Okay, everyone stormed out. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then on the group text that night, okay, so are we doing 40% off? And it just like goes back. And I think that we have done a great job. Family is first, always for us. Our relationship always comes first, and the love between us as family. And we know that some of us are going to have hard times. We know that some of us are going to be on their high when one of us is on their low. And I'm grateful that that's the way it works, because we help pull each other up and help keep it going, so that the company's always kind of stayed at a high, because one of us, luckily, is always in that cycle of feeling good and energy to keep it going.
And like growing up together, we've had experience with each other, and so we know not to take things personally. We know that what's said is said, and we can leave it at the door and come back the next day and love each other and work together.
I think we all have very different communication styles, and being aware of those communication styles has helped me. Like, sometimes if I don't get a response from one of my sisters, I have to like
From me?
talk to my I have to talk to myself. Like, okay, this is how she communicates. I know she saw it. Like maybe she's thinking about it. So
We've grown a lot as
Yeah.
individuals as well, just
Yes.
having to run a company together. So we're grateful for that.
So all three of you have pretty thick skin, it sounds like, and you get over things within 12 hours. Sounds like.
Sometimes it might be 3 days, just depending. But we do get over it.
I got to tell you, one of our employees, he's funny, he's our receiving lead. He's like, I just still remember the first time you and Mare got into it, and I was like, and I just stood there, and you guys were just sitting there yelling at each other, and I'm like, when, what? We did? When? And he's like, and then you guys just went back to work.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's how it is.
You gotta get over it and then just move on.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys know like who your biggest customer is? Like just an individual that's bought the most product from?
Like
Since
like
the
a
beginning. Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And you obviously don't have to say name or numbers, but like ballpark, how many dresses?
I couldn't say how many pieces, but I think she spent $50,000 in 2022 with us.
No.
I think a lot of photographers, you understand that they're building their client closets, they're selling, they could possibly sell a dress to a client. So we have these customers that are like, have their own business, not clothing, but like, a side, like a extension, I guess. It's a great partnership too.
Yeah. So she'll get a Christmas card.
Yes. Some chocolates.
Yes, for sure. Okay. With the growth and expansion, we were talking a little bit beforehand. It sounds like there's always just going to be a bigger warehouse, right?
Don't tell me that.
What is for other entrepreneurs that might think about, doing a consumer goods or a clothing line, what is the one thing that you guys were just caught off guard as like the hardest thing that took the most time to iron out?
I honestly think the growth. The growth has been the biggest pain point. We've grown 18,000% in the last 3 years. It sounds ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. And anticipating that growth. Okay, at a certain volume, you can't maintain that, especially in goods, in like sold goods.
A physical inventory.
Yes. And so
Space.
in March, we moved into this new 30,000 square foot warehouse, and
We were coming from 3 smaller warehouses and
15 storage units.
15 storage units.
And we had zero automation at the time. We were
Zero.
just hand picking with pick lists, like printing out the little shipping labels, the POs, and like hand like doing everything by hand. So when we moved into this 30,000 square foot warehouse, we implemented software with like complete automation. We got industrial racking for storing the boxes. We're not just stacking them anymore. And it was the hardest thing we have ever done.
I didn't think I was going to make it out. Genuinely. We have hiked the Grand Canyon together, in fact. And that was hard. Moving into that warehouse was harder than any of my births, anything. And I think that it was because it was so physically and mentally exhausting at our volume. So that was the biggest challenge. We did it too late. We were too big, and we had to make that shift. And so just the sheer amount of volume to switch over and move the product, physically scan everything was so daunting.
And we were also using a third-party fulfillment center at the time as well, and it wasn't quite working out like we were wanting it to. So we were bringing product back from their warehouse, and so it was just this massive overload. But now that we've been in there for almost 10 months now, it has been the biggest game changer. And like,
Worth the pain.
oh yeah.
We were able to take everything out of our fulfillment center, so now we fulfill everything in our warehouse, which is a huge cost saving for us and just more control over our inventory. And it's huge.
Yeah.
Another challenge I would say in addition to that was COVID.
Yeah.
Supply chain. I mean, that was just the freight cost. Oh my gosh. We paid $10 per dress one time to get it over here. Wow. And it was just outrageous. And so I would say just the economy, the unknowns in the economy is also a challenge.
Yeah. I would imagine there's nothing you can do about that unless you bought your own ship and
Time to sail.
yeah. We're going to open up for questions from the audience in a minute or two, so if we could get that mic ready. And so don't be cowardly and feel free to ask some questions here. So you guys are bootstrapped, SBA loans paid off. Let's fast forward 10 years. Personally, each one of you, what would be a successful vision of Baltic Born in 10 years?
Am I starting?
You
They
can
both
go
nodded at me. In 10 years, I love what I do. I wake up excited to go to work, and it brings me a lot of joy and fulfillment. And so I still want to be doing what I do. I love designing, and I love working with them. So I would say it looks like getting HR off my plate and customer service off my plate, and then I can put more time into the design. But as a company, it's more global. We have so many customers in Germany, the UK, Australia, Canada, and so really finding fulfillment operations that is international is my goal.
Ditto. I agree with what Allison said. We just growing globally even more than we are now. And then also, I think finding more ways to give back is something I'm really passionate about. So, whether that's a foundation with for women or children, or, just some way that we can even support our customer and who she is even more.
I agree completely. I love working and I love what we've created and I love seeing things grow. I think being able to expand, possibly to baby clothes or men's occasion wear to go along with the dresses, something would be incredible and really fun. And international is a huge opportunity that I'm looking forward to.
One of the things that why we started this is because we wanted to travel together. And so we want to go on a trip together in 10 years.
We can't all be gone right now.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So I just want to go to Europe with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. You can't all do something at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll bring this up just selfishly. If you do menswear, just maybe camouflage?
We'll do a romper, a camouflage romper for you, the onesie.
We'll name it the Garrett.
I love it. The Garrett camo romper.
On that same note, as you guys have achieved success, I'm sure there's plenty of armchair designers that give you advice, right? Oh, this is great material, or I saw something similar to this. You guys should do it. How do you guys absorb that?
Smile and nod.
I was just going to say that.
Like what you just did with
Great.
me.
I mean, again, it's data driven, and so they can tell me, "Oh, this is trending. That's great. I'm so happy for you."
Yeah.
I know it's not going to sell on my site, so no.
Yeah.
thanks.
Gotcha. All right, favorite piece, product, just each one of you individually.
Mine is the OG. It's the Spell Boho Maxi. They make fun of me because I wear it every week, but I will never not wear that dress.
That's a hard one. I like a lot of them.
I think I like the Stella.
That's
Yeah.
the white lace.
White lace, very whimsical. It's beautiful.
I think I just am simple and I love all of our velvets. The Megan, the Vivaldi,
The Monet looked amazing on you at Inc. 5000.
the Monet, satin.
There's just too many.
There's a lot.
It's too hard. It's like picking a favorite kid.
Some people can do that. All right, very cool. We've got a microphone in the back. Just raise your hand and it'll come to you.
Continuing on the design piece, so if you started here in Utah, there's maybe a certain audience that you're going to start with that would like a certain style, certain design. As you've grown internationally and as you've expanded your addressable market, how have you thought about adapting designs to appeal to a broader audience? Or have you just kept it kind of, nope, we know what we're good at and we're going to keep doing that?
So that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. Utah is not where we sell. Our top, we sell a lot of
High population areas.
to the high population areas that are, I don't know how to say this,
East Coast, really where the
Big metro areas.
but where Utah is a specific
conservative
design, and a lot of our styles are not that. They are not too revealing, and that's one of our design elements is that we make sure that we're not too revealing, but we also like our customer to feel, like I said earlier, sophisticated and sexy and beautiful. And so it's been fun to not be confined
by a conservative
audience, and we love being able to branch out and design.
And I think starting out, our focus wasn't to sell to the Utah demographic. You know, it was just to sell to everyone. And so I think that's how, like, we never put ourselves in that box. And so that's how we were able to grow out of it.
People are shocked when they hear we're from Utah. And
Thank you. So, well, I'm from Bangladesh. My parents from there actually, and I raised in New York City. So, yeah, I'm actually here for helping you guys rather than taking help. So, your next door neighbor in your warehouse, like Primo, I help them with their manufacturing, shipping, and everything. I don't do anything with China. I know like all those issues with manufacturing and then shipping issues. So I don't do anything with China. I have like 8 different countries outside China and like 2 biggest shipping companies affiliated with. So if you need help, I'll be more than happy to offer any help if you need. And I have like entire team set up in overseas.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. You said you went through a lot of growing pains and there weren't people that could help you a lot. Would you change anything going back? Would you work with anyone else? Would you Google it, like you guys said? Like, what would you do now looking back?
That's a really great question. I think that we could have brought in I want to start by saying we are not normal.
we're a little crazy.
We are like intense. We are urgency. We're intense. And so especially on, the pick floor and the receiving dock, everything, and just from an entrepreneur. And I do think we could have brought more people in sooner and possibly a little bit higher level, but it's so hard to find these high level that would mix with the same energy and same intensity, But I do think we could have brought more people in sooner.
High level.
High level. And, maybe if we would have spent more time before we grew so fast looking for the right people, but we couldn't anticipate the growth, So
To that question as well, we've had to outsource a lot of things
Yes.
that could be internal.
Yes.
And so now we're saying, okay, we want our company culture to feel a little more involved. Let's bring it internal. And so you pay a lot more when it's outsourced. And so to that note, yes, it would have saved us more money. But it's also too many cooks in the kitchen sometimes. So there's a balance. But
Yeah.
I love thinking about that. Great question.
Learn the back.
I have a response to that. I'm Allison's husband. So one thing too that these 3 are like amazing at, they have brought in high level people and it hasn't worked out because they figure it out better. And literally they figure it out better by Googling. Like I've seen them Google like where's the best place to buy Uline, like big boxes, and Uline comes up, like all these different things come up. And like, I think they have tried bringing in high level people,
Yeah.
but then they realize that they can figure it out better themselves. But I think it's trial and error. Like sometimes there are going to be people that they bring in that would do a better job. I don't think they found it yet. But
Google is a huge resource that we love. So everyone use it.
So my question is just, where did the name come from?
Oh, I love it. So we are Scandinavian heritage. Our dad's dad actually owned a menswear clothing store up in a small town in Idaho. So this has kind of been in our blood. And I served an LDS mission to Denmark. And so I speak Danish. And we decided to bring it home. And Baltic Born. Born actually means children. So it's the children of the Baltic. So
That worked out.
it did.
And the logo looks great.
I just love it. And
The
we
BB looks
we
great.
love Scandinavia still. It's just worked for us.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you what you felt like was the biggest catalyst for your growth. You talked about doing a lot of things like the boutiques and pop-ups and things like that. And then when you made the decision to scale, you started doing the paid advertising. Was that something that brought you a lot of growth, or was there something else?
It definitely brought a lot of growth. And then in 2020, Angela actually took over all advertising and marketing and learned everything for the ads and the paid advertising. And she killed it. She found, she cracked the code, and she was, I think maybe she was obsessed with it and was constantly babysitting it and looking at it, but she, once Angela took over those ads and marketing, we doubled in size.
This was also going on during that new iOS. And so she was somehow able to we weren't affected by it.
Not
And
at all.
everyone was shocked by that. So,
So we need to talk then.
yes.
Okay, you frequently said that you make decisions by the data. How do you track your data, and what data points are like the most significant to keep track of?
Great question. So Shopify has a very it's very direct. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Shopify, but what they're giving you is very easy to read, user-friendly, and that's how we started looking at the data. We've since brought in, so our new advertising person, he does a lot of tracking as well, so he has his own, honestly, these custom built for our business, these kind of tracking and reports are the most beneficial.
But Shopify has awesome analytics, and so we love Shopify. I will be their top reviewer until the day I die. I've been super happy with them, and that gives us most of the data. That's where we get returns data. What should we order more of? How should we do that? And it all works really well together.
One or two more, and you guys are able to stick around for a few minutes, correct?
Sure.
Hi, ladies. Dave Politis. Great to see you.
You
were, of course, one of my last stories that I wrote before I moved on. It is highly unusual for a family-based company to crack 100 million. And this year, if everything goes according to plan, you'll be over $100 million. What advice would you give?
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Okay? Congratulations. That's
Thank
like
you.
a major, major thing. What advice would you give to an individual who comes to you and says, I'm thinking of starting a business with my sister or brother or mom or dad? What counsel would you give them?
I love that question. I have so many
Don't do
answers.
it. No, just kidding.
When we were moving, I would be, don't do it.
They should probably talk to our mom.
No, I would say you have to get over yourself. That sounds harsh, but there are so many times where I have to put what I want and what I think and what I think is best. I have to get over it and get a little humility. And if they disagree, we have to work together. That is the three of us have to be on the same page, because if we're not, our employees will feel it, our customer will feel it, it will ripple, and everything will feel it, and it will fall apart. And so this foundation right here, you have to be a strong foundation.
It's a marriage. I mean, it is. It's a sisterhood, but it's a marriage as well. And so you can't be working with someone outside of that partnership. It has to be, we're the partners, we're deciding this together, let's move forward. And we are that way. It's all or nothing. It's never been 2 versus 1. We agree, we all have to be on board.
And one more thing to that too is sacrifice. I think this is something that might be missing in the culture these days, but what we have sacrificed to get where we are today is incredible. How many things we didn't do because we were doing a pop-up shop, or how many things we didn't do because we were working late, and it's hard. It can take a toll.
Not paying ourselves for a long
Yes.
time. We put every dime back into inventory, and so families, you got to even if it's successful. Well, I want to go buy a boat. Okay, well that could actually turn into millions of dollars in revenue from this one style that we need to buy. So it's
Totally.
making sure that you're on the same page of what's the goal, and that discipline.
What makes Baltic Born's culture special?
Hard work.
Yes. That's what I
Urgency
mean.
and hard work, I would say. I think that our employees love, they love and hate it maybe, but nothing is above us, like Marianne and Angela have said earlier, but we just have an energy, we listen to fun music at work. I need music. I'm not gonna work in silence. So it's kind of like a party, but there's expectations and metrics that need to be hit. So it's okay, we show up at work, okay, let's turn on, our favorite Katy Perry song or whatever that is, and let's work, and so we're here to work, and then let's go home and enjoy life. And so I think that the employees have really loved that, and we also have a ton of young employees, and we love empowering them. So I think part of the culture is we love to empower our customer, but our employee is just as important. Let's empower them. Let's help them get better. Let's help them move up. The company's only growing. There's room for growth here. We want to see you improve and achieve, and we're here to help you learn and do that.
Very cool. Well, this has been very fun.
We've loved it. Thanks,
Thank you
Garrett.
for taking the time. I'm quite intrigued by this jumper.
We'll send it over.
Love the story, love everything that you guys have said. Congrats on the
Thank you.
success.
Thank you.
Congrats for still being close sisters and friends. After
Thanks
all
for
of that.
having us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Baltic Born.
Thank you.
Thanks,
so
everyone.
much.
Thank you so much.